In this video, we will look at how to convert an improper fraction into a mixed fraction. This will involve dividing and then doing something to the remainder. Let's look at the different types of fractions. In the fraction 2 over 3, 2 is known as the numerator. 3 is known as the denominator. In this fraction, the numerator is smaller than the denominator. 2 is smaller than 3. When this happens, we call this type of fraction a proper fraction. Let's look at 3 over 2. 3 is the numerator, and 2 is the denominator. The numerator in this case is larger than the denominator. When this happens in a fraction, we call this an improper fraction. When the numerator is larger than the denominator, it is improper. Let's look at 3 over 2. We can represent this as 1/2, 2/2, 3/2. 3 over 2 can be named as 3/2. We can see that we have 3 half circles in the picture. If we try now to form whole circles out of the half circles, and we put 2 together, we can see that now we have 1 whole and 1/2 left over. So 3/2 is really 1.5. We can represent this by dividing 3 by 2. 3 over 2 is really 3 divided by 2. The line that separates the numerator and the denominator we can look at as division. 2 goes into 3 once. 1 times 2 is 2. When we subtract, we get 1 as our remainder. And so our answer is 1 and 1 over 2. We can see that in the diagram above. Let's look at 3 over 2 again and look at the steps that we go through in order to solve changing from an improper fraction into a mixed fraction. The first step is dividing the numerator by the denominator. We can take 3 and divide it by 2. The second step is multiplying, and so we get 1 times 2 is 2. The third step is simply subtracting. 3 take away 2 leaves us with 1. Let's look again at 3 over 2, or 3/2, represented by the 3 half circles. 3 over 2 is an improper fraction, and we can divide 3 by 2 again. 2 goes into 3 once. 1 times 2 is 2. 3 take away 2 is 1. So we can represent 3 over 2, or 3/2, as 1 and 1 over 2. We can see that 1.5 is the same as 3 over 2, or 3/2. Now let's look at 5 over 2. We can also call this 5/2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/2. Let's try now to combine the halves into wholes, and we can see that that half on top of that half is 1 whole. That half on that half is 1 whole, and we have 2 whole circles and 1 half circle. We can divide 5 by 2 to figure out the math. 2 into 5 goes 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 5 take away 4 is 1. And so 5 over 2 can be represented as 2 and 1/2. 1, 2.5. 5 over 2 is the same as 2.5. Let's look at 9 over 4, or 9/4, or 9/4. We can take 9 and we can divide it by 4. 4 goes into 9 twice. 4 times 2 is 8. 9 take away 8 is 1. So 9 over 4 can be represented as 2 and 1 over 4, or 2 and 1/4. Let's try 13 over 5, or 13/5. 13 over 5 can be represented as 13 divided by 5. 5 into 13 goes twice. 5 times 2 is 10. and 13 take away 10 is 3. So 13 over 5 can be represented as 2 and 3 over 5. 2 and 3 over 5 is a mixed fraction, whereas 13 over 5 was an improper fraction. The last example, 24 over 7. We can convert this improper fraction into a mixed fraction by dividing 24 by 7. 24 divided by 7. 7 into 24 goes 3 times. In my 3 times table, I know 3 times 7 is 21. 24 take away 21 is 3. And we get 3 and 3 over 7 as our mixed fraction that represents 24 over 7. And one more example, 48 over 11. 48 divided by 11. 48 over 11 is an improper fraction. We can divide 48 by 11, and we know that 11 into 48 goes 4 times. 4 times 11 is 44. 48 take away 44 is 4. And our answer is 4 and 4 over 11. 4 and 4 over 11 is now a mixed fraction.